Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you an opening trap called the Sveshnikov trap. So here it starts with e4, black plays c5, the Sicilian defense. Here white plays knight to f3 and black replies with knight to c6, developing his knight. So here white takes the center with d4. Now black captures this pawn with c into d4. White plays knight into d4 and black now attacks this e4 pawn with knight to f6. Here white plays knight to c3 defending this pawn. Here black plays e5 and here the best move for white is to play knight d to b5, which was played in the game. Here white is trying to play knight to d6 check, bishop into d6 and queen into d6. So here black defends this knight d6 with d6. Here the most common move here is bishop to g5 pinning this knight and then later on trying to play knight d5. But here white played knight to d5 straight away attacking this knight. Now black recaptures this knight, knight into d5. Here white recaptures it with e into d5 and black plays knight e7 attacking this d5 pawn. Here white supports this pawn with c4 and also opening up this queen's diagonal. Here black plays a6 trying to remove this knight from this b5 square. Here white plays a deadly move. Can you find that move? Yes, it is queen to f4. Now this knight is pinned. If we capture this knight with our a pawn, a into b5, then there is queen into a8. Black loses his rook. And if black tries to defend this discovered check on a5, so he can play bishop to d7, which was played. But here white plays brilliant knight into d6 and it is checkmate. So we move on to our next trap. So this is the 11 fish trap. So here it starts with e4 and black again plays the Sicilian defense. Here white replies with knight f3, which is the best move in this position. Here black plays d6 supporting this c5 pawn. Here white as usual breaks this center with d4. Black simply captures this pawn c into d4. White also captures it with knight into d4. Now black plays knight to f6 attacking this e4 pawn in the center. Here white defends it with knight to c3. Here black plays g6 trying the Sicilian dragon opening. So here we plan brilliant move. This is f4. Now we are planning to play e5. Now here black fianchettos his bishop to g7. Here we play e5 as per our idea. Here black takes this pawn with d into e5. White also takes this pawn f into e5. Now this knight is under attack. So this knight has many moves now. One is d5, another is knight to e4, knight h5, knight to g4, knight to d7 and knight to g8. So we'll discuss them all. So if black plays knight to g8, then he is simply moving his knight backwards and he is not developing his pieces. And if we play knight e4, white can simply capture this knight into e4. So if he plays knight to g4, then we have bishop to b5 check. So here if black plays knight c6 defending this check, then we have knight into c6, b into c6 and bishop into c6. This king is in check and this rook is in attack. So black loses his rook in this position. So if he plays bishop to d7 in this position, then we simply capture this knight, queen into g4. Now this bishop can't capture this queen because this is pinned to the king. So here black has to play king f8. If he plays king f8, then we have knight to e6 check. A brilliant move. Here this queen is under attack and this king is in check. And if we capture f into e6, there is queen into d8 check and black loses his queen. And black also can't play here king e8 defending this queen. So here, what if black plays knight to h5? Then we also have bishop to b5 check. Here bishop comes to d7 and g4. Now this knight on h5 is trapped. But if we play g4 now, but not playing bishop b5 first, then black can simply capture this e5 pawn on the center. And if we capture g into h5, then there is queen into d4 and this will be an equal position because white also lost a piece here. So what if black plays knight to d7? So there is e6 in this position. Now if black captures this pawn with f into e6, then there is knight into e6, this queen is under attack. Also this g7 bishop is under attack. So black loses a piece here. So what if black doesn't capture this pawn? Here if he plays knight to e5 defending this pawn, then we simply capture this pawn into f7 check and knight into f7. Here we have bishop to b5 check and white will enjoy a better position than black. So here after f into e5, black here played knight d5. Now here we play bishop to b5 check. This king is under attack. If knight to c6, we have discussed this earlier also. Knight into c6, b into c6, bishop into c6. This king is under attack and also this a8 rook. So if black plays bishop to d7 here, then we simply capture this knight on d5. Knight into d5. And here black too loses a piece. So here if black has the only move king to f8. So here we simply castle and we have our f file open and we can attack anytime to black. So we will have a much better position here. So we move on to our next trap. So it is the poison pawn trap. So here we play e4, black plays c5, the Sicilian defense. So here we play c3, the Latin variation of the Sicilian defense. Here black plays d5, the most common move here. Here if white takes this pawn on d5 into d5, then queen into d5 and black will enjoy a better position here. But why should we capture this pawn? White says no, I will not capture this pawn. He moves his pawn straight to e5. Here black played bishop to f5, trying to play e6 after bishop to f5, opening this bishop's diagonal. So here white simply played d4, taking up the center. Black takes his pawn c into d4. White also takes c into d4. And here e6 will be a better position for black. It will be an equal position. But here black wanted to try to be greedy. He played bishop into b1 and rook into b1 he has to play. Then black played queen to a5 check, checking the king as well as attacking this a2 pawn. So here white plays bishop d2 attacking this queen. So black here played queen into a2 as per his idea. And now we have the deadly move. Can you find that move? Yes, it is bishop to c3. Now, if black tries any moves like e6, then we have rook a1. Now, this queen is trapped. This queen has no squares to move. So, we move on to our next trap. So, it is the Smith Mora Gambit trap. So, it is again the Sicilian defense starts with e4, black plays c5. Here, white plays d4, the Smith Mora Gambit. White usually here sacrifices his d pawn to develop his pieces. Here, black takes this pawn c into d4. White plays c3, the most common move in this position. Black also takes this pawn, and black is the pawn up in this position. So, white takes this pawn knight into c3, and black simply develops his knight to c6. Here white plays knight to f3. He is also developing pieces. Here black plays d6, opening up this light square bishop's diagonal. So here we play bishop to c4. Now we develop our piece bishop and we are preparing to castle king side. Here if black plays bishop to g4 pinning this knight to the queen, then there is a tactical move here. Can you find that move? Yes, it is bishop into f7 check, and if king captures this bishop, king into f7, there is knight g5 check, king e8, and queen into g4, and this position is equal, but white has some attacks in this king side, and black has also lost his castling. So he doesn't play bishop to g4. He played knight f6. He's also developing pieces, and he will look to develop his dark square bishop and simply castle. Here, white sacrifices another pawn in the center. It is e5. Here, black takes this pawn with the knight, trying to exchange this knight too. Yes, here white played knight into e5. He also exchanges this, and black plays d into e5, and here black is a pawn up, but after bishop into f7 check, king into f7, and queen into d8, white is a queen up in this position. Black has given up his queen in this position. So here if he plays d into e5, then we have queen into d8 simply, and here if black takes this queen with this knight, knight into d8, so that he can castle afterwards. He doesn't want to break down his castle. Then we have knight to b5. Now we start attacking on this queen side. We are planning to play now knight to c7, and this rook will be gone after that. So okay, if black captures this queen with his king, king into d8, then we start attacking in the king side, knight to g5. Now this f7 pawn is under attack, and this pawn cannot be saved. So we move on to our next trap. So this is the Mengardini trap. So this is an unusual trap. So here it starts with e4. Black plays the Sicilian defense with c5. Here white plays a3. This is the Mengardini opening. This is quite unusual in this position. Here white plan is to play b4 and then c into b4, a into b4, and white tries to take away this center. So here black plays knight to c6. He is not letting white to play b4 because he will capture and knight will capture, and then it will be a pawn up for black. But still here we can play b4, which was played in the game. Here black simply captured this pawn, c into b4, a into b4, knight into b4, and c3. Now after this knight moves to c6, we have d4, and we have simply took the center. So here after b4, black can play e6, but defending up this pawn, but here white will play b5. Now this knight is under attack. If this knight moves to d4, then there is c3. Now see, this knight is trapped and has no squares to move. So a into b4 is the best move in this position. A in, c into b4, a into b4, knight into b4, c3. Black retreats to knight c6 and d4. White enjoys the free center. Here black plays d5, attacking this e5 pawn and also forwarding his central pawns. Here white simply takes this pawn into d5, and here black plays queen into d5. He also takes this pawn. Here white has a brilliant move in this position. Can you find that move? Yes, it is knight to a3. Brilliant move. He's trying to play knight to b5 and also bishop to c4 is the threat here. Here if black here black has three options. E6, e5 and knight to f6. So let's see what happens after e5. After e5 we have knight to b5, this c7 square, we are trying to put our knight to c7 and this queen and king and rook will be in fork. So here black can't capture this knight because of bishop into b5. He has to play queen to d8, defending up this c7 square. So here we play d5, now this knight is under attack. Here the knight moves to b8. Now see, white has developed many pieces, but all the black pieces are on the 8th rank. So here we play d6. Now we are forwarding our d pawn and we are trying to convert it into a passed pawn. So here black if tries to play knight to a6 and develop his pieces. Then we have rook into a6. Brilliant move. B into a6 and knight c7 check. This king is under attack and also this rook. So white black loses his rook after king d7 and knight into a8. So what happens if here instead of playing e5 black plays knight to f6? Then also we have our same idea of playing knight to b5, trying to play knight c7. Black plays queen to d8, simply moving his queen to d8. Here we again play d5, the same idea. Here black plays knight to e5 and then we have bishop to f4. This knight is under attack and if the knight moves somewhere like g6 then there is knight to c7 because this bishop has protected the c7 square. So he can play knight fd7. Now this knight is being protected by this d7 knight. So here we can play knight f3 and this will be an better position for black. And this will be a better position for white after knight to f3. This knight is under attack. And if the knight moves, we have a same idea of playing knight c7. So let's see what happens after e6 here, which was played in the game. So here we again have knight b5, simply trying to play knight to c7. Here black plays bishop to d6, simply protecting this c7 square. Here we play queen to g4. This g7 pawn is under attack. But black is thinking that what happens after g6? We can simply protect this g7 pawn. Yes, here black played g6 and here can you find the brilliant move played by white in this position? Yes, it is bishop to c4. This is a brilliant move. Now this queen is trapped out here. If he plays queen into c4, Then there is knight into d6 check, and wherever the king moves, like f8, there is knight into c4. Black loses his queen. And if black plays queen to h5, attacking this queen and also protecting his queen, then we have again knight into d6. Black loses a piece here. So if black plays here queen to f5, then we again have knight into d6 check, and this queen is under attack. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos. Thank you.